Hi, I've just had a conversation with someone that has sparked a thought for me that might be useful to share here. If you have noticed that as part of your menopausal symptoms, you have been gaining weight, or if through your life, like so many of us, me included, weight has been this kind of constant energy drain in your head, something that's taken up attention. Perhaps you've been a serial dieter. um, maybe maybe your relationship with your body has been one of judgment rather than one of compassion. then then perhaps these reflections will be of value for you. I I just wanted to explore and to encourage you to explore what may be getting in the way of being able to develop that more compassionate um, attitude and stance in relation to the way that you perceive um, your body and perhaps the weight that you may be carrying with you. Now, I know from my own story that from being a teenager, early adolescence, hormonal surges, um, and putting on weight uh, as an adolescent was something that really influenced the way that I saw myself. And I've spoken before, both here and on the podcast and in my Instagram posts, about how that negative self-image has really clouded an awful lot of how I've perceived myself, and has really got in the way of me being able to love and actually like myself fully. And resolving that was an incredibly powerful part of how I then was able to implement a whole load of other changes in my life. And really specifically coming to a place where I can, quite honestly, with my hand on my heart, and without embarrassment, say that I love myself fully. And for me, part of creating this concept of the positive menopause is actually to be able to bring ourselves into a place where we can see the whole of us with love, without judgment, in the same way that we would look upon a child with love and with compassion and without judgment. So to be able to turn that same really loving gaze that we would shine upon that child toward ourselves. Now, the other thing that I wanted to just reflect on here is how weight can so often be an emotional and protective layer that we build around us. Now, we know that when we're in a high stress state, the excess cortisol that rushes through our body as a result of stress and adrenaline also leads to us holding on to weight in our bodies. And there's a really valid reason for this. It's because, many thousands of years ago, and, and hundreds of years ago, we were much more likely to experience starvation because of scarcity in the natural world. And our bodies still hold the memory of that. We haven't yet evolved physically in the same to match the evolution that we have created in terms of technology. And so one of our stress responses is a fear that we're not going to get enough food. And so we hold on to the weight as part of keeping ourselves safe. And when we can think about it like that, we can actually see that our body is really trying to care for us. This isn't an act of malice against us, holding on weight, it is actually an act of protection. And there's something there that for me has been really useful in helping me be able to love my body more and be able to love what my body is doing for me, without judging it. And so connected with this idea of weight being a protective layer can also be to do some deeper work. And this could be something that you might consider either doing with someone like myself or with another coach, or or someone else that you trust. But to do that deeper work, to actually see what is it inside that you might be trying to fill with food. What is the gap that could be in there that's asking for nourishment, for fulfillment, and for content to help that void feel full. Now that is a deep piece of work, and it can be incredibly beautiful and incredibly powerful. And I just want to say, actually, if it is something that you want to explore with me, then just DM me or email me. I'll put my email address as well here, just in case you don't have it. But even without that deeper work, just to bring that little bit of compassion to what your body is trying to do for yourself, and just to recognize that, can be a really useful step towards shifting our mindset and our attitude toward the weight that we hold. And actually with that comes the practice of self-compassion. And with self-compassion comes a lessening of stress. And so we get this beautiful virtuous circle, which means that we're less stressed, so we're less likely to hold on to the weight, which means that we feel happier, which means that we bring more self-compassion, which means that we're less stressed. And so the cycle continues, as opposed to that vicious circle where we're in self-judgment and we're in a denial dieting mindset, which means that we're not nourishing ourselves, we're not giving ourselves what we're asking for, and we go into self-criticism, which increases stress, which then increases our propensity to hold on to the weight. Now, if you're also looking for sort of nutritional advice, then I would also seek the guidance of a trained nutritionist, someone who really understands holistically what is going on in your body and the way that your body needs to be nurtured and nourished. But if you're looking to do something on a more kind of spiritual, emotional, and psychological kind of basis, then I would really love to work with you, and just explore and to see how it could support you. Now, this applies during menopause, and it applies during the whole of our life. In fact, as women, we can carry so many stories about what weight means, and it really depends on our cultural background as to how critical we are about it. But there's an awful lot to explore here, and it's not something that we have to just either be angry about, be upset about, or suppress. So I hope that's been useful for you. And yeah, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Please put your thoughts into the comments below. Just, if it sparked any reflections for you, I'm sure it'd be useful for others to hear too. All right. Take care.